Now guys, what's going on? This is Yorkie here and welcome back to another video on the channel. And today, hopefully, we're going to be giving you guys a little bit of assistance. I'm going to be giving you guys some tips and tricks on how to keep your road to glory realistic. Whether you're just about to start one or have already started one, hopefully these tips will help give you more longevity to your road to glory this year. It is a save that I do find people do a lot. It's one of the more popular saves on FIFA. I also think it's one of those saves that can go stale very quickly unless you implement some certain rules and restrictions in order to make it more fun for yourself. Be interesting to know how many people start a road to glory and then actually don't finish it because they've got bored along the way. I've started up a new save here in League 2, taking over at Barrow, and we're just going to go through some of the stuff that I would do in this save that would help keep it realistic. Now, we do have a road to glory currently on the channel. We're 3 seasons in, so make sure you go and give that a watch. Also, if you are new around here and you haven't already hit the subscribe button, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, when you start your road to glory, there's instantly going to be 2 things off the bat that are going to make this a lot easier, and we need to get rid of them, obviously, because this isn't about making it easy. This is about making it as realistic as possible. Now, FIFA isn't the easiest game to have realism, but we can do stuff in order to make the game feel a little bit more authentic and a little bit more realistic. Now, this might depend on what version of the game you've got. I'm quite lucky because we are on a second account because my first one got hacked, so that part was unlucky. But this part, I am quite lucky. Now, my youth staff will instantly be dreadful. Yours might not be. You might have a really good scout here. You need to let him go and get rid of him and hire a new scout. But we'll get into this part in a second. The main thing you need to do here is you should have a future star sat in this academy right now. Obviously, I don't. Again, I don't have that version anymore. You will have a future star. Now, I know it's going to be very, very difficult to go and let this guy go, but you need to. This guy will be far too good for your team. I can't remember the last time that Crawley managed to produce the next Mbappe, Haaland, Cristiano Ronaldo, Messi, so neither should you. So that's going to have to be the first thing you do straight off the bat is get rid of that future star. You're also going to have to go into your scouts that are going to be looking for players and get rid of the superb scout that you're going to have in here. You're going to have one scout that is ridiculously good. This is how it should look for you. You should only have 3, which is going to force you down the years to hire new scouts. Now, when it comes to hiring new scouts, you're going to put yourself in this position now of when and where you need to be spending money on them. Now, this is one thing I would do with a scouting system is do not sign a single player unless you fully scouted them. This depends to what extent you want to go to with this, but I would also say you can't search for players. Obviously, on the channel, when I've done my road to glory, I've used viewer suggestions heavily because it gives them an involvement in the series. But if I was playing this without it being a YouTube series, I would force myself to use this scouting network and only use the scouting network and make sure I have to fully scout a player before I can sign them so that I have full knowledge. I would also not use this search section whatsoever. I would use the scouts and the global transfer network in order to bring players in. This is going to make it a lot more difficult for yourself. I would also set limits on where you can send players. You're in League 2, so I would say scout England, Wales, Scotland. I certainly won't be scouting Germany, France, Spain, Italy, those leagues, because that is not realistic. The chances of you signing someone from a foreign league in League 2 is very slim. This will actually also help when it comes to the free agents. It's very easy to abuse the free agent system. I set a limit in place with Salford where I was only willing to pay a certain amount depending what league I'm in. You might want to do the same. So say when you're in League 2, you're not willing to spend more than 3k on wages for a free agent. When you're in League 1, you're not willing to spend more than 5k. This will limit the free agents you get because it's very easy after 1, 2, 3 seasons to build a squad with that free agency that's just far too good for the level you're at. That, for me, will make the game feel very boring. If you're a dominant force in a league, it's not going to be fun. Struggle of a save, in all honesty, is what makes it exciting and enjoyable to come back. Nobody goes from League 2 to the Premiership in the space of 3 seasons. It's just not realistic, and that is actually going to hamper your fun. You're also going to have the same mindset here with the youth scouts. Think of it as like a star system. I'm in League 2 right now, so maybe a 1-star, 2-star is acceptable, but no more than that. We've got a 1-star, 1-star here. That's probably who I would hire. But there is no chance that I would hire this 4-star, 3-star. I wouldn't even hire him until maybe I'm in the championship. Maybe not even until the premiership. Use this star guideline of what you expect from each league and then allow yourself a little bit more reign. This is also going to have to force you to rotate scouts. This is something that would be done in real life as you progress through the leagues. You might hire more scouts as a club, or you might get rid of old scouts and bring in scouts with a higher reputation from bigger clubs. It depends how it works, but there is no real staffing system in FIFA apart from the scouts. So use this. This is going to force you into not having as much transfer budget over time. You're going to have to make big decisions at the start of a new season of, do I change my scouting team now? Do I improve them so that I can bring in some better youngsters? Or do I just use the money for transfers? It's going to give you that balance. You're not just going to be able to stack the academy side, which is probably the easiest way, one, to make money on FIFA, so definitely don't do that. If a youth player has zero future in your team or just isn't good enough, release them. Do not promote them and just sell them on for money. There are loads of ways to cheese a career mode, and that's not the advice and tips we're trying to give you in this video. We've talked about implementing stars with the youth academy, but we can do similar actually with the players you allow yourself to sign in the league. This is the most important thing to keeping it realistic, is the transfers, because you can control how you build your team. I set overall limits in my head for what I would expect from a team in League 2, in League 1, in the Championship. So when we was in League 2, 70 was the highest overall rating I would accept for a team that were trying to get promoted to keep the player on the team. If we hadn't got promoted Season 1 with Salford, Brandon Asante, who made it to 70 rated, I would have sold. You then will do the same for yourself in League 1. So for example, you could say in League 2, the highest overall I'm going to accept is between 68 and 70. Then when I reach League 1, the highest overall rating I will accept is 73, 74, before I have to sell the player because they're too good for the league that I'm in. If you hoard your players and never sell them, you're never going to be forced into rotating your team. You're never going to be forced into changing your squad. This is something that wouldn't happen in real life. You can guarantee that if a big star plays for, well, we've seen it with Peterborough, plays for a team in the Championship or League 1, one of the bigger teams is going to pick them up. You have to let that happen as well in your save. Hoarding players is a big thing I find when it comes to FIFA, and getting yourself out of that mindset and actually letting players go that shouldn't be at your club is important. By having a cap on overall that you'll allow in your squad, it does mean as you're going through the leagues, you're not instantly going to have a team that should be the best team in the league. We found that out with Salford in League 1, and it made for a far better season there, and then forced us to have a second season in League 1. This has added more excitement to the save and more enjoyment, meaning that we're not just going to steamroll our way to the top. The biggest killer of a save on FIFA, or really any sports game, is it being too easy. That might seem stupid, but if I'm winning the league every season, season in, season out, there's no fun in that. You're going to get bored really quickly. Winning all the time gets boring. There is something else I would use when it comes to transfers, and that is the morale. I would try and judge, and this is a difficult one, right? Because it's hard with the systems in FIFA, but if a player is really unhappy because of game time, I would sell them. The problem is with FIFA, you're not going to have a player really come and complain to you unless it's really bad. Whereas if you look at a game like Football Manager, if a player's not getting game time, he's going to come and speak to you. Now, because you're probably not going to get that in FIFA, the guideline you're going to have to use is this right here where you see play time. If it's got a downward thumb and the player's morale's down, monitor that over a period of time. But if you notice that that is a constant, sell the player, move him on, bring somebody else in that's willing to take a rotational role, that's not going to be unhappy that he's not playing all the games. This is important. Use the roles. If you've given someone important and they're not playing important, or at least playing several games a season, try and move them on, let them go. Now, there are, of course, ways to make the game mode harder. That would be using sliders, playing on ultimate, playing on a difficulty that actually challenges you is probably going to be important. If you're doing all these tips and tricks, but you're playing on a difficulty that you're very comfortable playing on and that you find relatively easy, none of these tricks are really going to work that much. Yeah, they might make your life a little bit more difficult when it comes to squad building, but at the end of the day, if you know how to steamroll the AI, you're still going to do that. So I would always focus on trying to get yourself a good slider set if you're very competent at the game. If you're very confident playing on world class and you're winning every single game, go up to legendary. The same on legendary. If you're super confident on legendary, but you don't want to go up to ultimate, get a slider set. Operation Sports have a great one. We do have a legendary slider set on the channel. I'm working on an ultimate one, but I mean, the game keeps getting patched and the gameplay keeps changing quite drastically. So I don't know when we're going to have that out, but always look to try and make the gameplay actually challenging as well. You'll notice that, I guess, if you come from a bigger side to use these kind of players at this rating, that it is a little bit more difficult. But yeah, finding that balance with gameplay is all important as well. You can do all these tips and tricks, but if you find it super easy to win games, then there's something that needs to be changed there. Now, this is something I don't do for my own OCD because it drives me mad. But if you was really trying to make this just a little bit more difficult for yourself, don't do any of the training. Do 0 of the training. Use the sharpness basically as form. Now, players who play consistently in the starting 11 will all have green diamonds. Players that aren't playing won't. So when you bring a new player in or you start using a player that isn't actually getting match time, they will be quote-unquote out of form and will have a red diamond or yellow-orange diamond, which will make them more difficult to use and they'll be out of form. This is a system you can use. It's something I've thought about, but there is something in my brain that sees a red diamond and gets really, really frustrated. So this is just a little added extra you could use to make it more difficult for yourself. But by no stretch of the imagination do that if it's going to trigger you, because it definitely triggers me seeing the diamonds not all green. I don't know why, it really stresses me out. Last but not least though, this one might seem a little bit strange, but don't play every game. When you're doing a road to glory and you're starting in the bottom league in England and you're going to go through the leagues and hopefully you're not going to be promoted every season because you're using these tips, you're making it more difficult for yourself. Of course, you're going to get bored very quickly if you play every single match. It's a guarantee. You can't play every single game of every single season and expect to get joy from it at all times. And if you can, fair play to you. Sim some games. It will also vary up the results that you see, and you should hopefully get a more realistic table by the end of the season. The way I do it is I pick 3 games out in a month and I'll only play 3 of them and sim the rest. You can work out your own system however you want, but no matter what, don't play every single game. One, you'll get through your save and seasons quicker, which will keep the pace of the save still going fairly well, even though you're not building a team at the same pace. Still gonna fly through the seasons at a relatively decent pace. Something I've done for a while now, and actually I don't think I'd ever go back to playing every single game, whether this was on camera or off camera. I find I get a much more balanced and fun career mode doing it that way. Anyway, guys, that's going to be it. If you've got any more tips, leave them in the comments for people, because people might read the comments here and they might want some more tips. These are just things that I personally have done, and they've brought a lot more enjoyment out of a career mode and out of our road to glory. You don't have to play realistic. Play however the hell you want. That's completely up to you. But if you are looking for a more authentic feel, a more realistic feel to a road to glory, and more importantly, one that maybe you're not going to get bored of, that's the most important thing here, then these tips certainly should help you. I appreciate you all. If you're new around here, remember, smash that subscribe button. Hit the like button as well so more and more people see this, and you help some more people by hitting that like button. You also help me. It puts a smile on my face. I'll catch you in the next video, guys.